Hi there, welcome to the Upcycle Design Lab. My name's Cindy and I craft using recycled and repurposed materials. If you're new here, I hope you'll stick around and check out some of my other upcycling tutorials. And if you like what you see, you can check the subscribe button below any of my videos to become a subscriber. Also, if you'd like to be notified when I upload new videos, be sure to check out the bell icon as well. So in addition to crafting with recycled materials, occasionally I do reviews of different products, and recently I've done a lot of different glue reviews, and I have another one for you today. I'm always interested in how different glues react, and if they have different properties, then you might be able to use them in different ways for different projects, and so it's always kind of fun to find out the differences between different adhesives. And recently I discovered that you can make your own glue dots. Now, I don't use a ton of glue dots in my projects. I think traditionally they're used a lot of times just for scrapbooking and things like that. But I do like to have a lot of glues available to choose from when I'm figuring out different projects. So I was pretty excited to find out that you could make your own glue dots. So I'm going to be comparing a couple of different products that you can make glue dots from to actual glue dots and just test out some different ways to see how they perform. So the four products that I'm going to be reviewing today are this Aleene's Tack It Over and Over Again, another Aleene's product that's called Stick and Restick, and then I'm going to be comparing those to the permanent glue dots and the removable glue dots. So I have a number of different items that I'm going to be testing out all of these products on. I like to recycle a lot of things, so I have some different recycled papers. This is a glossy paper from magazines and some newspaper that I'll be using to test the glue dots. I also have some little pieces of fused glass that I've recycled in my microwave using a microwave kiln, some bottle caps to test out on metal. I have a couple of different plastic options. This is just a plastic clear sheet, and then I have some fused plastic grocery bags. I'm going to test it on a little bit of felt and also some pieces of styrofoam. But first, let's make some glue dots. So I ran a couple of different styles of glue dots. I've got some glue dots drying on my sheet of parchment paper right here. And the first ones I did, I just kind of free-formed and put them on the paper. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but they're kind of thick and bumpy. So since the glue dots that I purchased are 1/2-inch flat glue dots, I used a circle template to draw some circles and then just fill in with the glue to try to make a flatter, more uniform 1/2-inch glue dot. So these are drying right now. You can see that when the glue's wet, it's white, kind of like an Elmer's glue, but it does dry completely clear. So while I'm waiting for my DIY glue dots to dry, I'm going to go ahead and start some testing. And I'm going to start with the removable glue dots that I purchased. And my plan is to just take these materials and stick them to each other and also to my piece of cardstock here and just kind of see how they perform. The directions on the glue dots indicate that you should pick up the glue dot with whatever it is that you're trying to adhere, and it was fairly simple to do on a lot of the papers. Some of the plastics I had to coax the glue dot off of the tape itself just to pull it off, and I found that the removable glue dots, the permanent glue dots, and my homemade glue dots all were fairly easy to pull off and use in the same fashion. So I've done several tests on all of these products, and overall I have to say that the Aleenes stick and restick and the tack it over and over were a little disappointing as far as the results went. They do work, particularly on the papers. They worked pretty well. They did okay on the styrofoam, and I did a couple of bottle caps just to test them on metal as well. And you can see that they do hold, but I could certainly pull them apart pretty easily. So I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between these two products. I haven't really noticed anything distinct that's different, other than that stick and restick was $1 more for some reason. I don't know why. But the actual glue dots, as far as adhering, just seem to be far superior to these two products. You can tell just by, I have a glue dot here just by each of the titles, and you can just tell that they are tackier overall, even just with a finger test. And it certainly held true with all of the other products that I glued together. This is the permanent glue dot, and it is holding really tightly. These two, super easy to get apart. I mean, they do hold, but they are very easy to separate. Now you can restick them back together. So as the name would suggest, they are probably more comparable to the removable glue dots, but this has a superior hold as well. And like I said, just on the finger test, it seems to hold on to its tackiness longer. So the other thing about my DIY glue dots is that I used the pencil to trace the circles. So on my clear plastic test, you can definitely see some of the pencil mark came off with the glue. So if you're working on anything clear, you might want to take that into consideration as well. So these are certainly products that work, but if you want something that's really going to hold, you probably want to stick with the actual glue dots. I did have one last example that I wanted to show you as far as the side-by-side comparison, just using some of my little fused glass pieces on glass. And you can see that the removable products, including the glue dots, have some play in them. I mean, they are all holding. So actually, maybe these two are performing actually better than I expected on the glass. You can still feel a little more grip from the removable glue dots, but just to show you, the permanent glue dots, there's just not really any wiggle room. There's not as much flexibility in this glue dot, I think, is what the difference is. But you can take all of these off, and in fairness to the permanent glue dots, depending on what you're using, they can actually be reused. So I would say the main difference between these two is that the removable glue dots are just a lot more flexible and a little gummier. And as far as these two go, I'm going to run a couple of other tests because I'm curious about the property of not having it be an actual glue dot. So I'm interested in kind of what the glue will do if I just use it as a glue, because they certainly are acceptable substitutes for the removable glue dot, but they do not have nearly as much grip, I would say. So for my last little round of tests, what I've done is I've taken the different types, the two different glues that I have, and instead of making glue dots, I've actually just put a ring of glue around my bottle cap. I put some glue on the back of this felt and glue kind of all over the back of these two glass pieces. And one thing I didn't mention before is that none of the glue dot products worked at all on the felt. The permanent held a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend any of them for fabric as far as glue dots go. But I'm going to test it out now that I actually have adhered or applied the glue to the entire back of these two felt pieces, and we'll see if they adhere better to another surface. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the bottle cap, because while these don't work very well as glue dots, you probably don't really want to glue your bottle caps together back to back anyway. If you were doing it, I think you'd be more likely to glue them together like this. So like I said, I've just got one application that's dried of the stick and re-stick here, and I'm going to just apply it or put these two bottle caps together, because I think you'd be more likely to want to do something like this. And I have to say that it's pretty, I'm sure you could get something in there. Well, okay, never mind, it's not holding very well. I thought it was going to hold better than that. It seems like it's holding pretty well, like I can't slide the pieces back and forth, but the minute I put any kind of pressure underneath, it does just pop right open. So it may be cheating a little bit, but we'll try putting it on the paper just for the fun of it and see if it stays a little bit better that way. I'm going to go ahead and just put my little glue piece on the paper as well, and give this heart a try. So let's do the same thing with the tack it over and over. Like I said, I haven't really noticed anything different about these two products. I mean, here again, it holds together. So depending on what you were using it for, you can see that it doesn't make contact everywhere, but that's kind of what the glue should sort of fill in some of that. But here again, I suspect, yeah, I can just pull it right apart if I put my thumb under there. Now, in fairness, these are not exactly permanent glues, so they are intended, from the name it would sound like, to be able to be removed and put back on. So what I'm curious about now is if I try to pull these products off, I suspect that the glue might stay on the paper. This is certainly adhered now, which is nice. So if you do want to use fabric with these glues, I think you want to put it on the piece itself. And this is actually staying to the fabric. It's probably kind of been glued into. So here's a nice application for this product. Yes, definitely. You can stick and re-stick your fabric. And here again, same idea. For my glass piece, it is staying to the glass as well. It might have left a little bit of residue on the paper, but I feel like that second time it definitely lost some grip. But definitely can stick and re-stick it. So far I would say that both of these are very similar. I will continue with that statement. And I don't think they make great glue dots, but they do make a good glue if you want to be able to stick something down and remove it. Alright, so just to quickly summarize, these two glues are very similar in my view. The stick and re-stick was $4.99 I think, and the tack it over and over was $3.99, so I would just say get the tack it over and over if it's less expensive. I don't think either one of them make great glue dots, to be honest, although if you're doing some paper projects, they probably would work okay for that application, but they are fun to make things that you want to stick and remove and re-stick down. So they do have a fun purpose, and they're a fun addition to your glue supplies. But like I said, I don't think they make the greatest glue dots. And as far as these two products go, I would say that, you know, depending on what you're gluing, you can actually use the permanent stickers more, or the permanent glue dots, more than once. If you're using paper, you're probably just going to tear your paper. But the biggest difference between these two products, I would say, is just the flexibility of the glue dot itself. And like I said before, the removable ones are a little bit gummier, and this one has just a really strong grip where you don't get a lot of play in the pieces that you're gluing together. So that's it for today. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you've used any of these products yourself, please feel free to give me some ideas in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon back here in the lab.